Hi everybody, my name is Tom and I'm finally back with a new rape train guide. This time we have a look into Die Rise and try to find some cool spots to make cool trains. My favorite spot is actually the cafe. I think this train is the most reliable one and usually I do not face any problems here. When you have a look into the bottom row, you see a lot of pictures. The one most to the left shows the path that we are walking. Interesting here is that we do not walk a circle, but only a half circle. And once we finished that half of a circle, we turn around and walk the same half again. And we repeat that over and over until we have gathered up a full horde. This works really well here. If you do not believe it, just check the video or convince yourself by just trying it. You are then getting pushed more and more towards the back wall, but this is usually no single problem. And once we have a full train together, we can then start to do a normal circle, a full circle, or what I like best is going into that corner next to the elevator and use that spot as a shooting point. We should just see it in a second. This is especially nice to shoot there because all zombies come to you into a more or less nice line. All the heads are on the same level because it's flat here, so it's easy to hit multiple zombies into the head with one bullet. That's really cool here. The area is also very well suited for the liquefier. You just give your shot when they are still spawning, when you got like 5 zombies, and then you try to do your half circle over and over and keep the zombies there where you see the massive goo there. But I'm not that good with this liquefier, so you rather check other guys' video for it. The second spot we have a look at is the whole room. This one is also very interesting because it's still not a circle that we run, it's more like some kind of weird figure. There is one important thing to keep in mind, and that is that you have to go to this corner right here and then wait until the zombies are very, very close to you. This is because in the third picture on the bottom row, you see this yellow line there, and this one indicates a gap. There is indeed a very narrow spot, and when we face like 2 or 3 zombies there, we cannot pass them, we cannot dodge them because we would fall down then. And then we are trapped and dead. So we have to make sure that the zombies do not run into that gap, but they for some reason do, although you would not expect it. I think the pathing is here kind of bugged a little bit. So you just make sure that all zombies come as far away from that pillar as possible. Just lead them all to the, let's call it the very, very left side, and have a check, look, or control it that they do not walk behind that pillar, because they are then really, really trapping you up there, and that is very, very crappy. Besides that, you see where I'm shooting on the most down side there, just next to the hole. I think that's a nice shooting spot. The zombies form a quite well-formed line there. So it works quite well. It's not always that easy to go for headshots here because it's going a little bit up and down and up and down, but it's not that bad. So a nice shooting spot right there. The area is also well suited for the liquefier, people say it at least. I can't really do it here. I do not understand how this should work well here, especially because it's going up and down and up and down, and the goo just makes the zombies walk weird paths because they fall onto the ground and so on. So yeah, I do not know how this works. But yeah, people say it should be a nice area for it. Now the next spot we check out is just downwards here. When we go through that hole, here we have a massive spawn point of zombies, a massive zombie spawn point that come through the hole. Means the most zombies that actually spawn into this area just walk through that hole, and because the zombies form massive lines there, we cannot always find a gap between the zombies. That means we then have to do a cutback, and this is what the path image shows again. We can either do a full circle if the zombies have that gap between them that come down through the hole, but when they do not form a gap and when they do not allow us to run between them, you can simply do a cutback as we can see it in the video. Do not be too much afraid of the falling down. It's usually not that a big problem. Just watch your step well and then you should not fall down. The shooting is a bit tricky here because it's absolutely not flat here. It's very hard to go for proper headshots, so I mostly use this area with a ray gun or with the Mustang and Sally or just something similar. This liquefier is very crappy here because it's, as said, not flat, and when you have goo on the ground, the zombies will just slide down, and also you yourself will slide down, and this is of course something that is very unhandy. It's actually one of my favorite areas. It's very nice, really cool. Definitely check it out if you haven't yet. The fourth spot is here in the Buddha Room. The Buddha Room is absolutely the easiest train in the whole map, but has also the problem that it is one of the slowest. So if you are new to the game, if you like it when the zombies do not come to you like in huge masses, but rather one by one, then this is definitely your spot. It's quite easy to make a zombie train in here. Especially nice is that broken pillar that we are on top of right now, because zombies cannot jump up there. So when we walk up the pillar, we can be 100% sure that there is no zombie facing us in our front. So it's a nice safe spot. Let's call it a safe spot, kind of, until the zombies, of course, then also walk up the pillar and reach you. There are a lot of alternative paths you can take, so you do not have to make a straight circle. You can also walk through that trash that is lying here on the ground, that little trash thingies you see there, or you can actually walk up the other pillar and then drop down again, or you can also walk, instead of walking up that broken pillar, you can also walk besides it. That's absolutely no problem. And then we have one spot we have to keep in mind, and that is that zombies actually spawn from the upside there and then fall down. And when you do not keep that in mind, you can be very surprised that suddenly a zombie is in your front that might block you and then kill you. So just keep in mind that zombies actually jump down there. You see it in the third picture. They jump down and can be suddenly in your front. So just when you walk up the pillar, have a look if a zombie is coming or not, and if one is coming, just adjust your way a little bit so that you can dodge him easily. The shooting you see best in the video, where I shoot just at the end of all those corners here. The zombies form very beautiful lines here. That's pretty cool. And also cool is that the slow zombies are gathering up in the middle of the area where they do not disturb us at all. So overall a very safe and easy and cool train, but as said, it's quite slow here. Now here we are on the roof of the power building. This train is very tricky and I die often here. So when you play solo, I would actually avoid that train. The problem here is just that we get a massive zombie spawn out of the area where those two elevators are next to each other, and they really form tricky lines there, and the area is just sometimes too narrow for a cutback, and then you kind of have no solution when the zombie spawns are just going too crazy. So I definitely do not recommend this train for solo, but unfortunately it's kind of an important train and a train we use quite often because Chag is, for example, here, and when we have to wait for it, this train just comes in kind of handy, and so we do it quite often. The train is also a bit, it looks like it would be really cool here. It's absolutely perfectly flat and we can make beautiful zombie lines, so the shooting is pretty cool here. But as said, when we gather the zombies up, they just can go crazy. They come in like crazy sometimes and then kill us. Important to know is that you can adjust the size of your circle, so you can make actually a very small circle, and now you see very well how crazy lines zombies come in here, that can really be really tricky. But when you play multiplayer, the whole thing here is no problem. When you do not get that many zombies, it's absolutely easy to handle it here, and in multiplayer this is a very nice train. Now the next train is at the spawn in the first room. This one is the one I kinda like. It's a rather small circle, so it's not the easiest one, but it's kind of a fun one. So we have to keep in mind again that zombies actually drop down from the little balcony there, something to keep in mind. And also when we wanna make our circle a little bit bigger, we sometimes run behind that desk there, and there we just have to know that we can only do that if we are sure that no zombie will actually block us, because that is a massive death trap there when you face a zombie into your front. So I try to indicate that in the third picture with that white line, so it's like the zombies are enclosing the path right there. And the shooting is pretty tricky here with bullet guns. You can actually leave the room and go like towards where all the parts are for the trample steam and shoot outside. That is something that works really well. But shooting in here is tricky with the bullet gun. So I would then just use a ray gun or Mustang & Sally, or even maybe Liquifire. Although Liquifire is always dangerous with that goo to kill zombies here. I would not run up the balcony, but it can be an option. The problem there again, that it's very narrow, and when zombies spawn out of the window that is on top of the balcony, you can just get trapped. Although you can dodge a single one, it can be very tricky when you walk up the balcony. Overall, it's a train that works. It even works in solo, but it's not the safest one, not the best one. It's just a nice alternative. In the M16 room we can also do a train. This one is especially nice when we want to do mid-round box hits. So when we come by the box in a turn of our circle, we hit it, and in the next turn we then pick up our gun. Here we have again a narrow gap here. You see it right here, or also indicated in the third picture. We have to pay attention that no zombies block us, and this is also the reason why I run this circle clockwise. Then you do not have like two spawn points directly in front of the gap. There you saw well that you still can dodge a single zombie when he is on or in that gap. Just again, do not be too much afraid of falling down. Just watch your step closely, and it should be no problem to dodge a single one. There we saw it again. Very tricky and important here is to keep in mind that the box is actually forming a corner. I marked this with red in the third picture. The box can block you. Keep that in mind and do not run into that corner that is formed by the box. Now let's go back to the power building, but this time we go one floor below. There is actually a very big circle you can do. You can actually run around the whole floor. We just face like two spots where it gets quite narrow and where zombies can block us. But everywhere else we can dodge up to, let's say, like 2 or 3 zombies, and usually we do not face more than 2 or 3 zombies at a time. So right here is that spot where it gets narrow. It can be tricky to kill single zombies, to dodge single zombies here, but in like around 20, I hold my ray gun, and in case one blocks me or just faces me directly into my front in one of those narrow spots, I will simply kill him. And we also have an alternative path. You can see it there in the first still image. As soon as it switches, then again we can just use that door that is to the right as like a emergency way, but it's still not then leaving the train. We get back to our usual route here in that circle. So we then just come in here at the shower. It's a very interesting circle, very cool one. It works pretty well. The zombies are not that compact when we run that kind of circle, a rather big one. But it's still nice to shoot them. They are all on the same level. Nice headshots you can do here. A very well circle. pretty cool. Definitely check it out if you haven't yet. It makes a lot of fun and is something different because it's not one of those very small circles. It's finally one that leads through multiple rooms, and that is pretty cool. Yeah, and when we are just here, we can actually have a look at one single room here, and this is this, I don't know what it is, kitchen, I think? It's a kitchen, yeah, it's a kitchen. We can run a circle just in this very, very small room. What I recommend you then is have this door closed there, and it's this double door, or how you say it's just a door consisting out of two doors, actually. You just run here a very, very small train, and it works surprisingly well. We have like 2, 3 spawn points, 4 spawn points, but they are just next to each other, so we can actually talk about 2 spawn points. And we just have a look how many zombies are coming to us, and is there like a gap between zombies that come to us, or do we have to shorten our circle a bit so we can pass the zombies before they actually reach us? And then this works pretty well. So now I opened that door, and you see the door is actually blocking my view here. I cannot see if zombies are coming through that door, and when I would just turn around and walk the other direction clockwise, then I would just have the same problem on the opposite side there, on the side where the MP5 then is, where the zombies come from, the MP5. So when the door is open, I would not do that circle. It's too risky then. Yeah, that's basically it about it. So let's go to the next one. Well, here is just again in the adjacent room one circle we can do. It's pretty sick, pretty insane, and definitely not one that works reliably. So it's not one I recommend. I just want to show it because it's maybe something for the hardcore players or so. You can do a little challenge how long you can survive it here, or just, yeah, something like that. I again have this door closed there. It just makes the whole thing way easier. So we see like very narrow gaps there in the third picture, and then when we have a look at the second picture, there are like red arrows that indicate zombie spawn. So they are red because when zombies come through that spots, or come from that spots, they instantly close those gaps here. And yeah, when they close those gaps, we cannot run through them, and this is problematic. We can try to do cutbacks as seen just right there, but the whole area or the whole spot is so small that cutback might actually fail. We can of course run between those tables. That's something that is no problem, of course. And you see me often using the ray gun and killing zombies that are in front of me, but it's round 20, and if it was like round 40, the zombies wouldn't die that fast. And then it's just me that would be dead if a zombie spawns then at the wrong time from the wrong place. So it's definitely not a safe circle, and it doesn't work well, but it's a fun one, and that is the reason why I show it to you. Yeah, it's a pretty challenging thing. I think you can actually, as an emergency exit, place a trample steam here, but I'm not sure, and then go to the whole room, but I'm absolutely not sure if that works. But it could be like one emergency exit. I would just not do it because you would always run over your trample steam by accident, and that is a bit crappy. I would rather use the other door there, as an emergency exit. Alright, so let's go to the next train. Alright, here again, pretty risky circle, but it's definitely safer than the one we have seen before. We are in the PDW room. We can walk more or less a straight circle here, and if the situation makes it necessary, we can also extend it a bit through those things there. You see it in the first picture that changes. We can walk, if necessary, through those doorways, whatever it is. Well, the zombies spawn a bit from everywhere in that room, but it's not a big deal to handle that because we have like, how many are it? How many is it? 1, 2, 3, 4 spawn points, so they split up more or less well, and there is more or less always a path between them that spawn, and if not, there is enough space to make a cutback. Because the area is quite narrow, shooting might be a bit difficult, so I use the ray again here. But I could also yeah, try to gain as much distance as I can and then use a bullet gun. I think it would work. Maybe I cannot kill the full train with a one burst then, but it would work more or less, I guess. Exits are a bit tricky here. I just want to mention it here for once. You can actually drop down the elevator shafts, but you should only do that when the elevator is on the bottom position. So you drop down a quite far distance. When you just stand on the elevator, when it's just one floor below you, the zombies will just trap you in there, and when it's not there at all, you fall into nothing, which is not so good. So just keep in mind not to use elevators as emergency exits unless you are sure where they are. But also other exits, they just lead like up the escalator or towards the SVU room. Very narrow everywhere, very dangerous. So like kinda no exits out of there. Now, talking of the SVU room, we can actually do a funny training here. And when you have a look at the bookshelf there to the left, it's like made to run into it and then slide around it and then go back out. You see it in the first image there. It's like kind of an 8 figure you can run, but you don't have to. You can also run a straight, normal, basic circle. Zombies spawn in quite intense here again, but again you mostly find a gap between them, and if not you can try a cutback. Usually it works, especially in multiplayer, but yeah, I just want to make it clear, those trains here that we see in the second half of the video are just like, I don't know, you can do them safely, easily in multiplayer, but for solo they are kind of way too risky, I would say. So what else can we say about it? Yeah, when it's getting too hot, just go down the escalator. There is a pretty safe exit there. You can dodge a zombie that comes up the escalator. You have to keep in mind that when you run back to the PDW room, you face that narrow spot there. This is just when one zombie is there, you are getting blocked, and this is really, really tricky. I actually tend to use that spot, that narrow spot up there towards the PDW room to shoot the zombies there, but it's just too tricky. I mean, there are a lot of slow zombies, and usually it's then the slow zombies that block the whole thing there, the whole gap, the whole narrow gap, and then I kinda die, so this is very uncool. Yeah, that was it actually already. I think we can just take in this other spawn here while I tell you something else. You got actually the trample steam here in this map, and you can like use it for as a trap. So you can, for example, put it behind a window, or you can put it in front of an elevator, and when a zombie then spawns through that elevator or out of that window, it will instantly get killed. You can do that in most places, so just make sure that the zombies cannot access the trample steam, so they do not destroy it, and make sure that it doesn't distract yourself, so that you do not walk over it by yourself. Well, that was it actually for Die Rise. Let's do Mob of the Dead. I'm very excited for it. I hope you are looking forward for Mob of the Dead too. And so long, have fun. See ya. Bye.